even though it's so exciting and so, you get your nervousness and all that kind of stuff, there's still that worry that's there that, okay, what if they stop before I get married? Then ours won't be recognized.
I was born here just the same as you. Another time, another day. I'm sure the good Lord took his time, made each of us just this way. I walked beside you step by step, and it never crossed my mind that I would grow up one of the different kind. That didn't stop me from chopping the wood, scraping my knees like all boys should, going down to the creek in the noonday sun, wringing out my shirt when the work I've done. Here in the mountains, it's a complicated situation for LGBTQ people living here. In a lot of ways, I feel like our Appalachian culture doesn't get enough credit for being accepting and welcoming LGBT people in their communities.
I think they're happy. We are a very inclusive community, the Episcopal Church. I would hope that they do not reject people because of their lifestyle.
Being queer in Appalachia really has its difficulties. If you look at the area in general, it's not been the most progressive place on earth to live.
Depending on where you are, hard or scary to engage in those situations, especially for like trans folks who are trying to pass as, a cisgendered person or just trying to like go around in their day. Sometimes it's hard to like engage or like put yourself out there in that situation.
We haven't had any issues in the community. We owned a business in Neon for 3 years. We do T-ball with Wendy, which is our niece that we're raising.
Appalachian culture is just more subtle about embracing differences. A lot of people who may have gay family members or what have you may have pretty healthy family relationships, but they just don't talk about it.
I am transgender, and she's lesbian. I've been very upfront with my niece and telling her, I'm female. She's so young, and I just try to explain stuff to her to where she can understand. And as she gets older, then, I can explain more.
I'm an openly gay man. I came out, I guess, when I was in about the 8th grade.
Within the community, within every queer's mind, they always say, well, I knew I was different. Well, I wasn't different. I just thought that a man was attractive. And it was very young. I don't know what happened where I blossomed mentally. I was like 7.
I first came out, I was identifying as a lesbian and as a female, and that's something that has definitely changed over the past few years. And it's kind of interesting because, a lot of people who are on the trans spectrum sort of have this, beginning story of, oh, forever, I've felt like I was born into the wrong body, or like I'm not who I'm supposed to be.
I think everybody in the United States knows someone who is gay or lesbian or transgender or bisexual. I think they do. And they know them as people. They know their names. They know their goodness. And I think the atmosphere of change is changing because of that. They're beginning to see them as who they are and not judge.
And it really presents a sense of community. So that brings it closer together, and you can talk to people that you would otherwise not be able to if you lived, in a city somewhere.
I've been lucky to have a very affirming family experience, a very supportive mother and father who were always there for me, through the kind of the struggles of adolescence and coming to terms with my sexuality and everything.
My sister, who I will say I think my sister is the most supportive person of me from my family and my queer identity. I feel like the rest of my family is not, whether they choose not to be, they knowingly are not supporting.
In terms of family, my father is a silent supporter. The fact that I wake up and talk to my father about how I want to go on a date with a man and then I was going to pick up a lipstick from MAC Cosmetics, and he's like, oh, that's good, be back by 10, I think that's beautiful. That's what parenting should be. The fact that I'm just not called a faggot and beaten down is beautiful. In terms of like the gay community, I mean, for the youth especially, it has to get better. And if it doesn't, do what the rest of us has done for ages. Persevere and live. If you're happy, then it shouldn't matter.
First things first, I'm a blue-collar man with scars on my knuckles, dust on my hands. Probably wouldn't have ever known I've got a man waiting on me at home. To tell you the truth, I don't want to fight. Just want to say one thing outright to you. Ain't we flesh and blood all through? And ain't we brothers too? The ability to have a family and to be married, it's validating. You know, as I said earlier, you know, just to know that you have the same civil rights as someone else. And I think about growing old in the mountains and, you know, being able to visit your partner in a hospital, or being, you know, insurance benefits, or, you know, the things that you have to deal with in death. And that kind of protection being offered to even, you know, beyond me, like friends of mine who have been in these partnerships for 30 or 40 years, you know, now will finally have the decency that they deserve, you know, as citizens of this country.
It was very important for me that if I bought my license in my county, I wanted to get married in my county. If we can walk into our courthouse and not be treated disrespectfully or discriminated against, then we shouldn't be discriminated against if we want to get married here.
I was at home with Wendy. She was at work, and I was watching the Today Show, and I started to see him talk about it, and it was going across the screen, and I was just like, really? Like, I know I'm not seeing this. You know, I kept looking at it. And I was on the phone with my aunt, and I was telling her, and she was all excited. And I started texting her at work, and I was sending all these messages about, like, hey, this really passed, and it's legal in all 50 states. And she wasn't responding, so I knew she was busy, but I had so much to tell her. And then one text I did send her, I just left it with, will you marry me? And I just left it at that. And then eventually I heard back from her.
When I went and got my phone, I thought I need to send a text, you know, saying, do you know anything about this? And I picked it up, and all I saw was, will you marry me? And I couldn't even send a text back because I was just crying more.
So the next morning, me and Angela and Wendy got up, we got ready, and we just drove to the courthouse and went in and purchased our marriage license.
This is just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more things. There's things that we haven't even thought about, like children in schools. Older couples that never had the right to have a relationship, let alone to get married, who have now feel like that it's too late for them, but can celebrate because we can. Transgender, having bathrooms that they can go in and not be discriminated against.
But I'll take the tip of the iceberg because it's an awesome thing right now.
It is.
But there's a long road ahead of us in the LGBT community, a long road. But we're in it for the long haul, so hopefully we'll have others to support us and we can support them and just continue on, and hopefully things will keep changing for the better.
And we still have a long way to go, you know, in this country and in the Appalachian region, because like people have been saying, you can get married on Sunday and get fired on Monday. And that's the truth. Is the unraveling of the hate in people's hearts that's the work we have yet to do. And that is only done by living openly and an honest desire to connect across lines of difference, you know, which I feel like we have more of an ability to do now, that you can get married and you can be a part of your community in that way. To tell you the truth, I don't want to fight, just want to say one thing outright to you. Ain't we flesh and blood all through?